Hello everyone. It's nice to see many familiar faces from our walking tour or walking audit that we had done. But again, my name is Tiffany Gerke. I'm with the Florida Department of Transportation. My role there is I'm the bike and pedestrian coordinator and the ADA coordinator. I also help with the Sun Trail program, but in the role I am with this project is I'm the project manager, and I'm working with my consultants. Renaissance Planning is leading that with the Florida Department of Transportation. And I'm going to give the floor to Dan Hardy with Renaissance Planning.
The goal for today is to basically say, in these three sections, we've got, again, three tables about 5600 block, 4700 block, 4600 block, and how would the desired elements for cars, trucks, bikes, deliveries, pedestrians, everybody, buses fit into the corridor. And what we are purposely wanting to do is to have small groups work together and independently come up with ideas. So one of the trade-offs that we're going to talk about is something we tend to call in the biz modal priority. You know, how important is it to make sure that you've got complete streets, is the term you probably all heard. It means every street can accommodate everybody. But it doesn't mean that everybody has a great experience on every street. So modal priority is suggesting which modes have the greatest need for the best experience as a traveler.
What do you have to say about the difference between what's happening on top and what's happening on the bottom of the street as far as drainage project? Is that two separate things, or is the drainage something that's going to be required in order for us to do the top? Can you describe a little bit about that, please?
Are such that there is not a need to fix drainage as part of the resurfacing.
Do we need to tear up our roads? Because it's very difficult for us to tell you what we want and how and to think about it strategically without understanding the full scope of this project.
Well, so I'm going to say, as Dan had mentioned, there is a resurfacing project coming up. With our resurfacing program, that's mostly geared at improving the pavement conditions, not the drainage underneath.
People can't get from Aventura down to 5th Street anymore. And I know we're just doing this, and this is like a beautification process, and I don't know what the level of infrastructure is. But is that even being considered in this project that we're doing right now? Or
So a couple of answers to that question. One is that, the beautification is important, but this really is also still a safety project like the prior project was, and it is a multimodal quality of service. So making sure that people on all modes can be traveling safely and effectively along Collins Avenue. The idea was there was already enough information to say putting rail down, which is really expensive, really permanent, is not something that's right for this piece of Collins Avenue. Yet the thought was transit is still so important that a separate lane just for transit vehicles, in this case buses, is important.
Thinking at 46, we're really thinking from 41st all the way to 46. So the buses on short term are not going to change. Buses would not change on short term. They would be regular lane. What we would be moving is the dead zone of the white. We have a lot of white and dead zone on the east side. And so we would be removing that to allow for loading and coming in and out and the restructuring of our turn lanes in the on the east side of the corridor. Now long term, white dead zones again would be removed. The removal of on-street parking to allow to convert into loading zones. We would have 10-foot travel lanes, 2 north, 2 south, 1 turn. We'd have pedestrian 10-foot sidewalks on each side, a protected bike lane 2-way on the west as well, and then 2 lanes in the middle for transit to allow for traffic calming all the way from 41st to 63rd, which is particularly important for the residents past 53rd where there's no hotels and you don't need a loading zone, but you need more traffic calming and noise reduction. And then landscaping, which was very, very important to this group, was ensuring that we have 3 sections of landscaping with shade trees, one next to our double track bicycles, one next to the 2 lanes of traffic, of vehicular traffic, and then on either side of our bus or transit in the middle. And transit would be in the middle of the corridor rather than having a median in the middle of Collins to separate it. and it would weave in and out.
It depends what is the situation with drainage. If we are told that we have to dig and redo the drains, then of course we'll start thinking about Plan B. Let's call them Plan A, which is short term, and Plan B is long term. Create a protected bike lane, semi-shared southbound, and then the bus ride share and truck lane would be where the frontage road is right now.
But basically, we want to have in either way dedicated transit lanes. We want dedicated bike lanes that are separated from the traffic. We have the bike lanes northbound, southbound on each side of the street, but in our Plan A option, since we took away a lane, we had extra space. We gave it to more green space in the middle, and it kind of gave a room for a parkway where we would have 5 feet of landscaping with a 2-lane bikeway right down the middle. It could go all the way up Collins Avenue.
What is the value of a resurfacing project? You know, if everybody says, hey, we did the not moving the curb options and we're pretty happy with that, well, then that could happen more quickly. And it could even happen with resurfacing. On the other hand, if people say, you know what, we just can't make work what we really think should be there, well, then it's possible that instead of a resurfacing, you would move into the design and construction of a total rebuild.